This homestead tour that you're about to watch is actually part of a larger documentary about homesteading in general. It follows the stories of 4 different homesteaders at different stages of their journeys, and these tours are just a small glimpse into what their actual homestead looks like. So enjoy this tour, but if you want to see more, there will be links in the description to where you can watch this full-length homesteading documentary that I made.
I'm Connie Quayle, and this is my garden. I spend a lot of time out here growing food for myself and my roommates and my partner, and often have lots to give away as well. Right here beside you is a bit of a brassica bed. I find them tricky, so I don't go big, but we've had lovely broccolis this year, and cauliflowers are coming along. Squash. They're already getting big, and it's not even August yet. So I'm looking forward to this year's squash harvest. Always too many zucchinis. Whenever I think I'm going moderation, I don't. Ground cherries this year are doing really well for this time of year. It's been so hot. I love ground cherries, just a beautiful little tasty crop. My raspberry patch is suffering. We dug most of it up when we were expecting an excavator who showed up a month late. So already been digging some of the potatoes, but again, this is only one of my potato patches. The other one's down in the community garden. So much kale, so much chard, onions and leeks rounding out that bed. Find small patches of things works quite well. The cats love hanging out underneath the remake cloth here, so it's a cat/carrot bed. Been eating lots of beets already, the thinnings, beans, really in the beans this year. Again, just a small patch of beans, but they're more than me and my roommates and people who live here can eat. Excited about the corn, and of course I always have lots of lilies and roses, and artichokes are popping up high. Gooseberries and currants all the way along the edges. The peas are done for this year, but again, we already had too many peas. We stopped picking them at one point because none of us could get any more peas. It's been really hot. The lettuces have started to bolt. I'm keeping some of them for seed, and some new ones are coming along. But the basil, a few batches of pesto in already. I always make big batches of pesto and freeze them in ice cube trays. And just have ice cubes full of pesto that I can break out all winter long. And I almost went through all of last year's pesto before this garden was ready. Herbs, thyme and rosemaries and sages, tomatoes. Again, we're gonna have too many tomatoes. Of course, a little bit of cannabis, you know, my legal limit. Other than that, I round out the garden with a ring of sort of perennials, a lot of medicinal herbs. I got my comfreys and vervains and yarrows and all sorts of things around the edges, and another medicine garden up by one of the cabins. And the new garden expansion is more medicines. I make herbal medicines and sell them at market. I use mugwort a lot in my medicine making, as well as rose, and it just loves it here. The mugwort just thrives on this hillside. I do a lot of canning. I make pickles. I've already made a batch of raspberry currant jam. Mentioned the pesto that I preserve. When there's enough corn, I'll blanch it and freeze it. Salsas, when I gather the onions and the tomatoes and the garlic. I also do a lot of stuff that I just leave in the ground all year. Because I'm on such a high, well-drained hillside, I can dig potatoes almost all winter without them rotting in the ground. And the same with the leeks. And the kale grows all winter, of course. It never stops growing. So we get enough to get by through the winter, but our diet becomes a lot more limited in January, February. This is our community garden, and not everybody gardens here every year. We've been having trouble with water supply lately, so some people are backing off from this garden, but I still have a little plot, lots of motherwort and mullein, St. John's wort, more medicinal plants, red clover, a few other things I use in my medicine making. More potatoes, more squash. Right now we're using it just for storing a bit of plywood, but it's all set up to have goats again and whenever one of us or all of us decide we want to do that. This here is our community orchard. That's one of the first things we did as a land group. We wanted to get the fruit trees in the ground right away so they'd mature, and they have. Got pears and plums and peaches and cherries and apples. These are the early season transparent apples. They're good for baking, good for sauce. A bit mealy for eating, but that's why we have a whole variety that comes ripe at different times. The orchard, like a lot of our other community assets, or projects at least, are an opt-in, opt-out based on the year. So the people who want fruit from the orchard this year are in charge of all the weed eating, pruning, fertilizing, whatever we decide needs to be done that year. Next year it might be a different group of people, or it might be the same people, just year by year. Life changes so much that it's hard to have systems that last with resiliency for decades and decades when there's no flexibility for life changes and life choices.
Thanks everyone for watching. Just another quick reminder, check out that link in the description. It'll send you to wherever this film is available, and you should be able to watch it for free, maybe ad supported, but that goes to support me making more of these types of films, and I hope everybody enjoys them.